Hello friends, in this video we are going to discuss about the part 2 of the last chapter, that is on the trail of the earliest people. We did get to know that why the early man used to move from one place to another place. What were the probable reasons behind that? In this video we will discuss that how do we get to know about all these things that they used to move in such a way. Now, we do know that there are archaeologists who just excavate these sites, who explore the areas wherever they find any kind of clue regarding the early man. Now, in such a way, the archaeologists have certainly found several clues, and the most important of them are these stones. These strange looking stones that we do find. Usually we find smooth stones. Here we are looking at bigger stone sizes here. If we see that they are quite big in size and they have different kind of structures. Here it's a bigger one, it's smaller than that. They have pointed edges. Then they are similar kind of stones, and then we do see that this is the deep part, that is the smaller stones here, and they are more sharp than any of the above. The archaeologists have found that all these stones were used by the early man for one or some other purpose. For example, they could have used the sharper stones for piercing or stitching the skin of the animals so that they can wear clothes. Or otherwise, such kind of stone could have been used to dig the earth to find the roots or the shoots of the plants so that they can eat. In such a manner, they have found that the stones can be used by they could have been used by the early man for such kind of purposes like crushing, like grinding or cutting something, or scraping the bark of the tree, chopping meat, digging the earth. They could have stitched the animal skin, they could have hammered something if they wanted to, they could have peeled something, they could have used these stones to throw on some other animal. And they have also used these stones for some special purposes, and they are called as microliths. Microliths are the special stones or the small size stones used to make things like arrows or spear or a hammer or a sickle, like these shown in the figure. Here they have used a bone, they have pierced this particular bone, and they have made this stone fix in this particular structure so that they can use this as a sickle, or they can use the stone and a wood combination as an arrow or a spear, or something like this as a hammer. And certainly they didn't know the technology what we are using today, but whatever primitive thing that they knew, they created such kind of structures which were really helpful for them so that they can kill the animals, they can use these things for their own purpose. Now let's see what could be the probable thing, or what could be the probable technology they must have used to make these stones. The archaeologists suggest they could have used these two stone making technology. One is the stone on a stone method, and the other one is pressure flaking. On the stone on stone thing, they take a stone which was to be crafted, and the other stone in another hand, which is called as a hammer. The first one is called as a core. They just apply this hammer on this particular core so that flakes can come out and they can get the desired shape. For here in this example, they are getting the sharper stone so that they might use it for or cutting something. Other technology is the pressure flaking. In this particular technique, the early man might have used the hammer, a bone or wood or a stone which is sharper in nature and which can bear the load, and the third thing as a core, that is the stone itself. The stone itself which was to be carved out, they would have placed this particular core on a surface and applied the hammer pressure over the bone and then indirectly over the core so that they can get the desired shapes of these particular stones. This is what the early man could have used for all these purposes. Now let's see another thing, the names and dates. Whatever we are looking at and whatever we are studying at present, we are talking about the Stone Age. As certainly in this particular era, the early man only had stones and other natural materials they used. Hence we, or that is the historians or the archaeologists, call it as the Stone Age. And the Stone Age by themselves or itself, they have parted into three eras. The first one is the Paleolithic era, the second as Mesolithic, and the third as the Neolithic age. Now, they are certainly they are very very dramatic looking words, not easy to remember. It's something this nomenclature has been assigned by the Greeks as in the Greek language, paleo. It's paleo means old, paleo that means old, and the lithic word or the lithos or in Greek lithos means stone, stone. So certainly from they nomenclatured this particular word Paleolithic, that means the old stone age, the old stone age. Similarly, they created Mesolithic, for where the meso means the middle. So similarly, we have middle stone age, and then the Neolithic as the new stone age. Neo means new in Greek. The Paleolithic in itself can be divided into three ages: the lower Paleolithic, middle Paleolithic, and the upper Paleolithic. As far as the time is concerned, let's see a small example. We start with a small example. We are presently, today's date occurs in the year 2013 CE, that is the Common Era. 2013 Common Era, then we do remember that we have seen this particular date, the 2000th century, the 2000 Common Era, some 13 years back. And then similarly, there must have been a date 1000 years back, that is 1000 CE, and then 1000 years back from 1000 CE was the 0 CE, when it is considered as the Christ might have born on this particular year. So certainly this is a quite nice time that we see. It is almost 2013 years, quite a huge time. Now let's see what when we talk about early man and how much time they consume on the timeline. On the same path as we have, on the same scale that we have checked here, it is working on every bracket as 1000 years. So it is 0 BCE till 10,000 BCE, that is some 10,000 years, quite a huge time, 10,000 years. And before this 10,000 years and after 10,000 years towards the 9001, that is the descending order, it is considered as the Neolithic age. Neolithic age, that is the new stone age. We'll be discussing about the new stone age in the upcoming videos. This particular one, that is the 10,000 BCE till 12,000 BCE, these 2000 years, are considered for the Mesolithic age. And whatever time that we see on this timeline from 12,000 BCE onwards, it is considered as the Paleolithic age. Paleolithic age. And it doesn't end on 20,000 BCE, but it moves on. It moves on till 30,000, 40,000, 50,000, 1 lakh, 1 lakh 10, 1 lakh 60, 2 lakh BCE, 4 lakh BCE, 6 lakh, 8 lakh, 10 lakh, 14 lakh, so on so forth till 20 lakh BCE, whooping a very great time. Certainly you can just think of how much does 1 year mean to us, and we are talking about 20 lakh years. 20 lakh years, that is 2 million years ago. 2 million years ago that we are talking about, that by this time the early man existed, and starting from this range till this particular date, that is these many years, the Paleolithic age is concerned. This Paleolithic age is almost, or rather it consumes almost 99% of the human life. of the human life. The present human that we see today, it's almost 99% of the human life has been taken away by this Paleolithic age, when the humans did not even know how to eat, how to wear, how to do anything. They were living on very primitive kind of things, as we are discussing here in this particular video. Further, we will see, and we are looking what archaeologists do. Well, now we get to know that the archaeologists do search for stones, or do search for any kind of material or clue that they can get help for, or help in knowing the particularly the primitive ages. They also go at places and they do see that how the early men used to live. This is what we are going to discuss now. They have roamed around everywhere in the world, and it is the particular map of India where they do have searched for such places. And we are looking at certain colorful dots here. There's a blue square. Here we have a red triangle, or a diamond, or a circular kind of a figure. Now, what all these things are, as we have already knew that what is Paleolithic means, Neolithic or early villages, we get to know about all these things. When we are saying megalithic, mega means very big, and lithic, as we know, it's stone. So certainly megalithic means the age when bigger kind of stones were used, hence we have used this word megalithic. And then we came to know about early villages and modern cities, that we will be looking in the next videos or the upcoming videos. Well, let's see. In India, we have several Paleolithic areas. The archaeologists have found several places in India where they have got the clues where the early man existed. For example, in India, that we have found several Paleolithic sites. For example, the Hunsgi and the Kurnool caves. Similarly, they have also checked for Bhimbetka, which is in Madhya Pradesh. It's a very nice tourist site where they have found the Paleolithic clues. For example, here in Bhimbetka, such kind of mountains are there, and what you see here, it is expected that the early man could have lived inside these caves. These are the caves where the early man could have moved inside and could have slept for several years. This is what is called as a habitation site. Let us enrich your vocabulary here again. Where a habitation site is where the early man could have stayed for long. And site is something where the archaeologists have found any kind of clue regarding the early man. They tell us that a site is there, and we have found clues like stones, or we have found tools that early men might have used. They may have made pottery, they may have made certain kind of toys or jewelry or something like that. And at a site, the archaeologist may have to excavate these things out of the land, that is, after digging inside the earth, or they might find it over the earth, that is just lying like anything, or they might find it inside water, inside the lakes, or inside ponds, or may inside the seas. Well, if we see at Hunsgi, the place that we have shown on the map, this near Karnataka, Hunsgi is a place where they have found a habitation cum factory site. Well, a factory site is a place where the early man might have made stones and tools, or tools made of stones or bones or anything else, maybe wood. So factory is a place where they have created such kind of things, and habitation, as we have already discussed, is a place where they have stayed. So Hunsgi is a place where the historians do suggest it could be a place where they stayed, and as well as created stones and tools, as we have found several kind of chips and flakes made out of these stones while they might have created. And the kind of stones that we have found there are made up of the limestone which is available in the nearby site. And here it comes, the ostriches in India. It seems very strange. We don't find ostriches as of now. In the present era, we don't find any kind of ostriches in India, not even in Asia, but other parts of the world. But in the Paleolithic period, the ostriches might have existed inside India. The archaeologists do suggest, as they have found certain kind of ostriches eggshells in Patni, Maharashtra. And designs were also engraved on such kind of eggshells. The egg was there, they have found those eggs, and such designs were made on these eggs. So the archaeologists do suggest that the ostriches might have been there present in those particular times. In the Kurnool area, here we have these Kurnool caves in the southern part of India. We have findings about the fire. The archaeologists do suggest that early man might have stayed there and they might have used the wood to burn fire, as they have found the ashes of all these things inside those caves, and they do suggest that these ashes they are of Paleolithic age. Similarly, well, in the Mesolithic period, as we have already discussed, the Mesolithic period was around 2000 years in this particular thing, that 10,000 BCE to 12,000 BCE. For these 2000 years, the archaeologists do suggest that it was time of the changing environment. The Mesolithic period, they do suggest that it was the time when the environment did change. The climate got a big change. It got warmer from the earlier cold climate. The temperature did increase, and by increasing the temperature, it directly affected the forest and the environment. And because of this changing climate and changing environment, it is expected the growth of trees were very high, the growth of animals was very high, and the growth of even human being was very high. They all increased. These microliths, they are also being suggested that they were created in this Mesolithic age. Was the time when all these things did occur. Going further, the archaeologists do find that there were several rock paintings or the cave paintings are found in several caves. Such kind of paintings are found in these caves, and this is particular painting of two oxen in France. There's a painting of France. The archaeologists have found in such kind of caves, and they do consider that the early man created such kind of paintings. Though we are not sure that why they created such paintings, but what we expect is they could have created these paintings because of several reasons, which could be they may have celebrated certain kind of festivals on which they could have created such kind of paintings, or it might have been a communication language, or there could be reason that there were several early humans who were really very artistic in nature and they have created such kind of paintings so that they can just prove their art or something like that. Or they might to signal someone, as we have already discussed, as communication language. They might have used it as a signal thing or something similar. Well, we are not sure of what could be the probable reasons, but these are something that we understand. Now is the question, who did what? That is, whether it was the men or it was women who used to work more. Well, we do not know exactly, but we do consider that it could have been a case where men would have gone to the forest to collect the animal produce, or and the woman stayed at home or and looked for the children. Or it could have been another thing that men and women both did the same thing. They went for the animal search and the plant search for the plant produce, and they both checked for the family. Or it could have been an opposite thing where women might have went for the animals and men would have stayed inside the caves to take care of their children. But we do not know exactly what could have been the thing. If you may suggest, it would be a better idea. Well, I hope I was able to clear most of these points and this particular chapter on the trail of the earliest people. Have a good day ahead. In the upcoming videos, we'll be discussing more about the early man. Have a good day ahead. Bye bye.